Hello, my name is Yaron Spivak. I'm the music director for the Center of Spiritual Living, Los Angeles today, even though I'm in Provincetown. And let's start the morning with a beautiful song to remind us to call people that we love, to tell them that we love them after I fix up my collar. Here we go. No New Year's Day to celebrate. No chocolate covered candy hearts to give away. No first of spring, no song to sing. In fact, it's just another ordinary day. No April rain, no fireworks bloom, no wedding Saturday within the month of June. But what it is something true. And out of these three words that I must say to you, sing with me if you know. And I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. No summer's high, no warm July, no harvest moon to light one tender August night, no autumn breeze, no falling leaves, not even time for birds to fly to southern sky. No Libra sun, no Halloween, no giving thanks, all the Christmas joy you bring. But what it is something new, to fill your heart like no three words could ever do. I just called to say I love you, and I just called to say how much I care. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
And I receive it from the bottom of my heart. I love it.
Good.
Thank you, Yaron.
Thank you. It's so
Just
good to be here this morning.
it's so good to see you and to have your backdrop of Provincetown, be able to relate to where you are and the Pilgrim Tower over your left shoulder and
I'm
the
swimming as we
water
speak.
that's you're swimming in the water that isn't moving. So,
Yeah. I'm drowning. I'm kidding.
He's a shark attack, yes.
Exactly.
But I'm so happy you're having a good summer in Provincetown, right? You said everybody's a little under the weather right now because you've all been working so hard, but I know that the town itself is just vibrant with energy. And so I'm
Yes.
so glad that you're there and you're doing well and to have you here. So, and
Thank
that
you.
song, so beautiful and perfect to open because it is a great reminder for all of us to remember to call those that we love and to extend to those we love. And just recently, I watched a YouTube video that was talking about how to cherish the moment when you have it. And one of the ways to have the moment is to reach out and touch someone, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're here and we're sharing in this moment.
Thank you. I'm calling to all of you to say that I love you, and I'll be back.
All right, sounds good. Go dry yourself off. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in our Sunday morning celebration service. It's an honor and a privilege to share this time-space continuum with you today, and I'm very excited for our on-air service. Whether you're joining us live through YouTube and or Zoom, or at a later date watching us through one of our many social media outlets, just want you to know that just as the song says, we're calling, if you will, metaphorically, in the metaphysical sense, to say, I love you. That sounds like kind of a quirky, weird human emotion to open the service with. And it is both through the energy of the emotion of love that we as a community extend to you, the individual that's participating in our service, but more deeply, and more importantly, looking at love as we're taught in the philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind. That which we practice here is the self-givingness of spirit, whose desire is to create more of itself. And the only way it can do that is through itself, which is through you and through me, because we are individualizations of that one. So I have a wonderful service planned for you today with great music, more with your own. We're continuing my series called Conversations with Dr. Keith today with a beloved individual that I love with all of my heart, named Reverend Lisa Ferraro, and she'll be on later in the service for us to have a freestyle conversation to inspire you. And I affirm for everyone that's participating in our service today that you know at a deeper level than ever before that you are the wholeness and the completeness and the perfection of the divine energy itself, and that you are love just where you are, right here and right now. So we're going to go into the opening of the service by putting our opening slides on the screen. And I invite you to receive those and accept the love and the support and the energy from which they're being shared. As a community, our vision statement is supporting individuals, finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. It's my invitation for each of you today to open to a spiritual awakening, and in so doing, by identifying and aligning with the truth of who you are as a divine being expressing your humanity that provides a greater sense of personal self-empowerment. Our screen shows a big hello to everyone, and you'll see on there the visual of the beloved being of light in an act of namaste. We like to open our service with that act of namaste, which is a Sanskrit word that in its most true form means I bow to thee. In the modern world, we use it as a physical application of putting our hands together in prayer position. Follow me and do this if you like. Placing our hands over our heart, feeling our heartbeat as we inhale, center ourselves and exhale, and bow forward and say together, Namaste. In our modern incarnation, the words that we use are, the God in me, the light in me, honors and acknowledges that in you. And as we raise back up, we also give ourselves the opportunity to feel that, to stay in the exchange of that. Because it's a very simple, grounding, relatable practice. It's one that can help us ground ourselves in this chaotic, crazy world that we are living in today. So I invite you to feel that and to repeat it as necessary throughout the day, the week, and life as it unfolds. As a community, we welcome all races, all religions, all countries of origins, all sexual orientations, all genders, all abilities. We literally stand with you and metaphorically stand with you as well, and like to affirm that you are indeed safe here with us as a community. I love the graphic on the image on the screen of the individuals and a sense of joy and all being unique as they are. I say almost every Sunday when we're together, one of my favorite Ernest Holmes quotes is, Spirit has placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you. What that means to me is we are uniquely different, and we're supposed to be that way in all of our expressions of life. And to honor that as the oneness of life expressing itself through all of us. In our philosophy, faith, and way of life, the practice of New Thought religions, we know that our words have power, whether we're singing them or stating them or reading them or meditating on them, just as we used with the word namaste. And so I invite you to use these words together with power and affirm them out to the universe. We welcome one and we welcome all. That's because we live in a universe that's governed by spiritual law, and that which we emanate and express comes back to us in form. because the philosophy, faith, way of life known as the science of mind teaches us that there's only one power in the universe. We call it God. We also call it source. We call it the thing itself. You can call it Bertha or Martha or Tom. It matters not what we call it. But it matters greatly that we call it. And we call upon it more and more and more for the purpose of aligning our field of awareness, our consciousness, with that which it is. In our teaching, we teach that its qualities, with which we are imbued with, include but are not limited to peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom. And the more that we purposefully and intentionally think in regards to those qualities and believe that they're within us and we express them, the more we will experience them. That's because we live in a universe that is indeed governed by spiritual law. And so the law responds to us by providing a corresponding experience to both the moment by moment way that we think and believe and act and react and interact with life itself, as well as to the developmental element of all of consciousness, which is pervasive in the universe. I know I've talked a lot already, but I invite us all to take that in and exhale as we hear again our individuals supporting and hear our vision statement of supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And so let's just invite that awakening in. As we hear this music begin, the beautiful tinkling on the piano by Donna Michael. I called her by name because I know Lisa knows her and loves her too. And we move into our opening ritual, which is called Calling in the Light. So I invite you to look at the orb of light on the screen, if that's safe and comfortable for you. And as you feel the flame flicker, the movement of the light, let it be a reminder indicative of the light that is within each of us that is always moving, a reflection of life itself. And hear these words and allow them to have meaning to each and every one of us. Today we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. The purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering this morning a conscious awareness of our oneness and the qualities that we possess as complete expressions of the divine. I called them out earlier. And so as we feel the vibration shift during this experience, may we each become ever more aware of the light of life that exists in and as all expressions of life, which includes you and it includes me. We take a deep breath in together and exhale and feel the light within us. Let's hear these words of this beautiful Sanskrit proverb. And let's let it be an invitation for us to open to a greater element of light in our life and to feel and know the presence of the divine. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the realities and truths of existence, the joy of growth, the splendor of action, the glory of power. For yesterday is but a memory, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes yesterday a memory of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. Once again, as we inhale together and exhale, let's literally look with our inner eyes well, therefore, to this day, meaning this very moment. Yaron's going to come on and take us through the song Calling in the Light, which is a call and response song. I invite you to sing along as he instructs you to do so.
calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. I am love, I am peace in my heart. I am free, I am spirit, I am soul. All together we are whole. And calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Calling in the light of love. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
And so it is. So fabulous.
Thank
So,
you.
Yaron, I love how you get excited about picking your songs for the Sunday because you give me options and you go through them and you provide a whole list. You're very organized. And so, share with us the next song you're going to. I love it, though. I love it. I love it.
I do too. It's like
No, it's kind of
think
my
there's
nature, too. So, what's the next song you're going to sing for us?
I'm gonna do a little mashup that I did. It's a Bob Dylan song with a Green Day, and they both kind of talk about the same message. I don't want to reveal them just yet, but there
Okay.
was a great film about Bob Dylan last year that really inspired me to listen more to his music. I wasn't a fan of his voice, but once
Uh huh.
heard those songs, they got a whole new meaning. So I'm
Yeah, well,
excited.
especially once you see that film, because the story of his life is just fascinating. If that's an accurate portrayal, which I'm assuming it is,
Yeah,
and also not just the story, but the it was a beautifully shot film and exciting and touching and
and Timothy
informative
Chalamet,
and
it's pretty
educational.
easy on
Yeah,
the eyes.
yeah. Oh, well, that for sure too. So,
Yeah,
all right, take it
and
away.
all right. I actually want to dedicate it for everyone that has family in a conflicted country, any country. How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? And how many seas must a wife dive sail before she sleeps in the sand? How many times must that cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many years can a mountain exist before it is washed to the sea? And how many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? And how many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. sky. And how many years must a man have before he can hear people cry? And how many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, just a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
How lovely. I love that mashup. It's very thought provoking.
Thank you. I like sometimes you talk about the situation and then you have to change it. I think
Uh
that
huh.
I like that call to action on the Green Day song. So
Well, it's interesting because I was just chatting with a friend this week about a friend of mine who just posted. He does a New Thought Evolutionary blog. He's been my guest for Conversations, Dr. Jim Lockhart, and he was talking about in the teachings that we are in how important it is to do affirmative prayer. But the next piece of that is called treat and move your feet. And what he talks about is how we gotta remember that the movement piece is equally as important. The moving towards your good, being open to it, being in the movement of life itself. So all of that.
it's scary to make a change, but change, it's inevitable too.
Well, change is always happening. The key is we get to decide whether we want to tune into it in a way that's reflective of our divinity or not.
Yep.
Well, thank you. Look forward to later, and I'm looking forward to you taking in this lovely conversation I'm going to have with my beloved girlfriend here. So, in just a minute. So,
Perfect.
all right, see you in a bit.
See you in a
So, I'm
bit.
so excited, everyone, to share this time with Reverend Lisa Ferraro, who's going to come on in just a moment, who is. We've known each other for many years. She lives in Columbus, Ohio at present. She has a fantastic ministry in life that she's had that has changed and grown. As we were talking about earlier today, she's running a retreat center in Columbus, Ohio right now after having still a thriving music ministry for many years, both in secular music and metaphysical music. She is a founder of a fabulous experience called the Circle of Love Gathering that I've participated in over the years. I listened to her album called LYF Standards. That's going to make her laugh when she knows that, because I love to listen to your version of New York State of Mind and At Last. So it's just, I have a playlist on my music of At Last, and yours is one of them, Lisa. So welcome, everyone, Reverend Lisa Ferraro.
Hello. I think I unmuted myself, did I?
You did, yes.
Welcome. Oh my gosh, Reverend Dr. Keith, it is such a treat to be with you. And thank you for that wonderful introduction and
You're
your
welcome.
energy and the music. I just wanted to say, Yoran, thank you for that. Mashup was outstanding. It was really
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, you two should know each other,
Yeah.
both personally and musically as well. So, yeah. So Yaron is with a slew of individuals, but also independently, doing kind of a residency in Provincetown for the summer, as he often does. So,
Nice.
yeah. So,
Excellent.
yeah, I know you guys have been there. You had been there years ago, right? Didn't you guys? You ever been to
Yes.
Provincetown? Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of times with Reverend
Christy.
Christy Hardwick. Yeah,
Yeah, I was remember. I've seen photos of that. Yeah.
inspiration. And I think I might be there Women's Week this year. I
Oh,
might
fantastic.
do a little jazz thing, perhaps. We'll see how
Oh,
it plays out.
I love it. Well,
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're here and we get to kind of play today.
Yes.
So, I'm going to throw a quote at you. It's just the one on top
Okay.
here and see what it
I like the
stirs
way
up
you
in you.
roll like this. Yeah, we were
I
saying it's
love
fun.
it, baby. It's the way to do it. It's an Albert Einstein quote, and it says, I
Oh,
think 99 times and find nothing. I stop thinking. It's going to be appropriate to Jeroen's backdrop. I stop thinking, swim in silence, and the truth comes to me.
beautiful. You know, I gave a talk a couple of weeks ago at the Center for Spiritual Living, celebrating the 80th anniversary of Oakland CSL.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
And I was saying something that reminds me of this quote. It's reminding me of that. And it was the recognition of when we swim in the silence. It was actually a Hildegard von Bingen quote.
Mm-hmm.
You swim in the silence, but as soon as you speak a word, we start to the framework of it, because like you just said, you have to speak, treat, and move your feet. Like speak
Mm-hmm.
your word. As soon as we choose something from the silence and put a frame around it, like the framework of the energetic, the
Mm-hmm.
vibratory rate of the words we speak, that manifestation has to start. It's impossible that it doesn't. But it's in the silence where all the possibilities are. And so I was saying, when you and I were talking about this in our pre-roll, when we were just chit-chatting, uh, in our smaller mind, that's where all of the ways we might want to do it the way we've done it before. Like, with Erika's passing, as you were talking about, there's no way I could go back and do it the way I'd done it before. So I had to swim in the ocean of
Mm-hmm.
silence, of nothing, of everything, and start to say, okay, whatever was coming to me from the infinite source of intelligence, being super open to possibilities where I saw things before. I wanted to see nothing. I wanted to hear nothing. I wanted to experience nothing, and allow my soul to call forth something different.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we take that experience from what we had, but I try not to recreate it from the small mind, even singing. I think that's why I like to sing jazz to life standards. I don't want to do it the same way every single time, or that it
Yeah.
loses that presence.
Well, I think the key to that, I'll speak for myself, is that it's having cultivated and continuing to cultivate a deeper and deeper faith. And it's from the faith where then there's trust to be both in the silence and the noise simultaneously, right?
Right.
And then it's from there to be able to hold perspective on the past, right? And to sit in the silence and be open to the manifestations happening all at the same time, although none of them are really measured by time, right?
Right.
And it's like seeing things totally different than before while having the history of what I've seen before be a foundation, and also know that I'm seeing more than I've ever seen before, while at the same time having a clearer lens of seeing everything through oneness, right? It's out of the multidimensionality, there's only one, right? And it's through the one I open more to the multidimensionality. So like all that exists, and it's from there, it requires going more into the silence and more into the silence and more into the silence, right?
Yeah. So like when you say multidimensional, I like to say it's like dimensional vibrational
Yeah.
reality. So it's the same thing, but that vibratory rate, how I was thinking about freedom. We were talking about freedom, and the words freedom and liberation aren't the same thing.
No, they're not.
To use, and you use the word trust. It's kind of like the more trust there is, the more freedom we have.
Mm-hmm.
And the more freedom we have, what do we do with the freedom? What do we choose to do with the freedom we have? Do we help to our souls are always free, but sometimes they need to be liberated from these smaller mind thoughts, like you were saying. Like Albert Einstein said, 99% of forget that. But how much time do we spend with the freedom we have in the silence to liberate our soul consciousness to come through us and show up as who we are with the things we're doing? And I think about the freedom we have, and the trust. It's kind of like a child whose parents give them the trust to have that freedom. Like, yeah, you can take your bicycle around the corner and go get a soda or something and come back. And the child does it skillfully. And then the more freedom we have, the more trust, the more freedom, the more trust. But then what do we do with the freedom we have when no one else is looking but the infinite, right?
It's so fascinating you say that. I shared with you earlier, I was at a family dinner last night, and
Yeah.
the youngest of the children is now 15 going on 82, really 15 going on 38, and had gotten ready to go out, and her friend were going to a party, and as she was walking out, her mom looked at me and she's like, "You don't think I should let her go, do you?" And I said, "I don't know that I should be having this, like, I don't know, that's not my comfort, like, it's not my decision to make, right?"
Right.
And she, she goes, "She's just so rebellious." And I said to her, "I think you are too, and so was I. And that is good as long as it's held in check, right? But you've given her freedom all these years. She's free right now, whether you want her to be free or not.
Yeah.
She's got that freedom. So I say, let's just all affirm that what unfolds is all divine for her, right? Like,
Sure.
that's all we can do right now is like surround her in love and light, right? Do I personally have concerns about some of the decisions she's making? Absolutely, right? But that's, you've given her that freedom. Like, now at 9:03 p.m. Saturday night is not the night to shut that down. Like, you should have thought about that 6 hours
Right.
ago, right? Or
Yeah.
6 days ago, or 6 years ago. But be that as it may, yeah.
It's that art of remembrance. Like, remember who you are. I remember some friends going off to college, and there's always somebody that says, "Don't forget who you are.
Right.
You
Oh,
must
yeah.
know who you are first, so that when you're under the influence of other people's ideas and thoughts and unregulated, whatever you want to call it, you'll still be the one that'll set the parameters for yourself. Like, I am free to do it or not, and I know that's not good for me. Not gonna do
I
it.
don't recall anyone ever reminding me to remember who I was, but I do remember at one point flashing back to this young girl last night leaving. And not that it was a Saturday night that I was leaving, but I was kind of leaving to go live my life
Right.
from my parents' house. And my mother sat me down on the back porch and asked me to, and I did. I sat with her and she said, "Will you just listen to me for a second?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "I need you to promise me you're going to do something." I'm like, "What?" And my mother didn't do that very often.
Right.
And she goes, "I need you to promise me that as you're going through your life," and I'm kind of paraphrasing this, "but if you encounter people that have been through what you're about to go through, will you just slow down enough to listen to them?"
Mm,
Isn't that brilliant?
marvelous advice. Wow.
Brilliant. And there were so many times in my life where I heeded what her invitation and her
Because
instructions,
you're wise.
and I'm convinced on some levels that that saved my life at times.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, word to the
so
wise. Good for
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Wise counsel.
yeah. Well,
Got another one?
well, I do, and I feel like we gotta let it. We gotta. So it says, when we lose some. This is a quote that we use this week in our New Thought text. When we lose someone we love, we must learn not to live without them, but to live with the love they left behind.
You know, two things come to mind when you say that. One is like, what if freedom is actually knowing that love never dies?
Yeah.
It's impossible, first of all, for it to. And I said this like right after Erika passed away, like in form. She's never not with me. Like,
Yeah.
she's with me all the time in more subtle ways. Like, we used to practice, I think I might have mentioned this before, like not talking to each other with words on Mondays.
Uh
It's like,
huh.
at first I thought she was just trying to get me to stop talking. It's like, this is a trick. She's very smart. But the very first thing we ever did together when we met in the Bay Area, we had a rendezvous in the Bay Area when we were living two separate places to write music. And we both sat down and had the idea to stretch time while we were together. So we did. We were both excited that the other knew what the heck we were talking about. So it was like, okay, this is my little mad scientist zone. And then we recognized we'd stretch connections across time, space all the time because you just get out of it. You just create a whole other reality. But what if ultimate freedom for us is to know that we don't lose anything,
Yeah.
and that there's freedom and release? Erika had a great song she wrote there's a there's a blessing in the breakdown. There's freedom in release. When we finally quit the struggle and there discover peace, I leave the old ideas behind me so I can break the spell, like a chick who feels it's dying while cracking through its shell.
Oh,
It's like, oh, we've got to be able to release and forget what came before. And that's the ultimate, right? Like, think what this quote is like, true love never dies, it shifts. It calls for us to, again, like raise the vibration. When I'm at a certain pitch, if I lose connection, it's my fault. I mean, it's something I'm doing, not anything she's doing.
right.
So it's kind of, it doesn't really happen. Maybe it happened twice, but I feel like, because of the grief process, but the body needs what it needs, and we just need to transition, you know.
Yeah, and for our viewers and listeners that are tuning in, Lisa's referencing her partner, her wife, right,
Yeah.
of many years, Etika Luckett, who passed away several years ago after an illness. And
Hey, Eddie, can I thank everybody? Thank you.
yeah, and that you guys had a musical team together for many years as
Yeah.
well, so you can find their music online. Um, and so that you're speaking of that grief and that loss. This quote stirs up in me not necessarily someone who has passed on, but relationships that have passed,
Uh-huh.
and whether they're situational or whether it's individuals, and the having a perspective of having angst around what that was like and going through the grieving process and feeling hurt and we'll just go with hurt, right? And how, as much as that was necessary to go through all of that, there comes a time also to let go of the hurt and just hang on to the love, right?
Yeah.
And realize that it's from the remembrance of the love, then the love can be propagated. Because if I hang on to the hurt's going to be propagated, right? And several of my teachers, Jim Lockhart being one of them, and Reverend Moyer Fox another, in the context of a situation, both said the same thing to me, but in different ways. And it was, I'm here to support you through your grief and here for you when you find the light again,
Nice.
right?
Sure.
And I mean, kind of what we're saying is like holding the idea for both of those, because they do exist. And you got to sometimes go through that grief, but to remember that there will be a moment you'll look back on the grief and the light or the love will be there, right? And so
Yeah.
that's what this is speaking to in that love that you speak of, right? It's not, it is love as an emotion, but it's the love that's transcendent of emotion.
Right. And you make some great points there, and taking it like with something that is still incarnate.
Yeah,
We do it to ourselves sometime.
yeah,
Like, I remember one of the greatest teachers in my life was my high school softball coach. Jean Kondo was her name. She was amazing. Like, character builder, really turned on that searchlight of introspection for me. She was the first one that really gave us things to think about, like contemplate these ideas, get the best out of yourself. She was amazing. But one of the things that she would never permit to remember something that was a mistake. Learn from it, like we're saying. Don't talk about it again. Like if I would say, "Oh gosh, remember last year when," she goes, "No, I don't remember that. Why?" And she just wouldn't even go there. And what I thought about was I try to forget these things a long time ago, but it comes through meditation mostly. That's where the deep polishing comes in, that the vibration that holds those ideas together can't even function once you clear the decks and erase that circuitry. It can't even go there. There was somebody who did something. She did two things. One was an extremely generous thing to like keep the business of a dear friend of mine running while this person suffered like a really long illness. Then she did something total opposite that was like really intense and negative, and most people thought we would never speak again. And I saw her, like after 2 years, Keith, I saw her on the street, just walking downtown. And I didn't even remember the other thing. I
right.
just went up to her and I said, "Hey, but I mean, And she just looked at me like, why are you even talking to me? And then it came back like, oh my God, that's right. She did that horrible. But I didn't remember.
Right.
So,
Because
well,
energy propagates energy.
right.
Yeah.
And then even when it came back in my memory, it was so insignificant compared to the
Right.
really amazing, generous thing she did. I didn't even, when I saw her, it was just, I was excited to see her. I didn't even think of that.
Well, it's interesting. I think that as evolving metaphysicians, there's two things I want to address here. One is um, I think we oftentimes get confused that we're supposed to live either in our humanity or in our divinity. And it's not an either or, it's and. They exist simultaneously, right?
Yeah.
And so it's important to remember that. And then, to the best of our ability, let our divinity guide our humanity. Right? And when our humanity gets out of sync with our divinity, then use our human nature, which is that of being contemplative, to choose to make a decision to reframe, realign with that which is our divinity.
Yeah.
The other piece, I use the David Hawkins map of consciousness so frequently, with frequency, for that purpose. It gives us a visual of where do we want to tune our energy, right? Because it really shows you from 20 to 1,000 how that evolves, and how you move from constrictive and destructive energy into energy that's creative and expansive. And it's not just theoretical. This is a result of applying these principles with thousands of people.
Yeah.
And so I just reread the book Power versus Force, and it's so,
Great
pun
classic.
intended, powerful, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's dense and hard and bizarre and interesting, and yet very simplistic at the same time
Yeah.
when you look at the breaking down of that. But what I think where I'd like to circle it back for us is, no matter where we are on the journey, it breaks down categorically what possibility there is for us, right? But
Right.
it all comes down to how we're using our power. That's really what it all comes down to. And that's not how we're using it being ego driven, it's how we're using it letting that which is the silence within us guide us,
Yeah.
right?
That's the ultimate use of power, isn't it?
Yeah.
Surrender.
Yeah. Oh, it
With that,
is. Yeah.
I've said this for years, like I'm writing a chapter in a book. It's like the best use of our minds is to get out of our minds and use the higher one more often.
Yeah.
Just tap in, and you're not, it's not a, it's a co-creative process. It's not like you're just surrender and God's gonna do, like you're saying, that's not what I'm talking about.
Well, that's
It's like,
one piece. That's
it's
not all
one
of it.
piece.
Yeah.
And the both and thing you were talking about, just to bring it around to 13th century mystic poet Rumi, who
Mm.
we all do, and that the whirling dervish, the word dervish is actually a Turkish word which means threshold.
I didn't
So
know
the
that.
body, yeah. So our bodies are the threshold between worlds. And when they do their whirling dervish dance, one hand is turned upward and the other one is turned downward to channel through the threshold. We hold both all the time. We're bringing it through. We're it.
I saw Twirling Dervishes, a group of them, with
The
David
whirling
Leonard
dervish. Yeah,
in Melbourne, Australia, at the Parliament of
yeah,
World Religions. We witnessed it. Yeah.
yeah. We saw them in Turkey. That's a whole long story. We'll have to. But I saw them with the first time they brought the whirling dervishes out of Turkey. They performed at Zellerbach in Berkeley, and I lived in Pittsburgh at the time. But I was visiting a friend. It was 1993, I think. I was visiting a friend who lived in San Francisco. Well, it was her birthday, and a whole bunch of people were taking the BART over to the dervishes, and they thought they were going to whirl themselves into some kind of a frenzy. But I was mesmerized. Were you?
It is mesmerizing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it fast forward all these years
Well,
later,
it's so incredibly
here was the guy that was
meditative.
there. Yeah, it's what's all it is. Yeah, Kabir was the one that we did all the Rumi stuff with.
Your
He was
Rumi,
there.
your Rumi album is just incredible. You
Thank
and
you.
Etika. Yeah, I listen to it a lot. So for those of you watching and listening, you can access that through where, Lisa? How can you get it if you
You
want?
can get it. Actually, lisanitika.com is still there. It's On the
Yeah.
Way of Love. Ruby sings Rumi.
It's just so beautiful. It's mesmerizing.
That
Okay, the
was
next
that was
quote. I don't,
okay. Yeah, what do we
this one,
got?
for some reason, tells me I need to say this. Um,
Okay.
It's by Jennifer Wright. And it says, people talk about caterpillars becoming butterflies as though they just go into a cocoon, slap on wings, and are good to go. Caterpillars have to dissolve into a disgusting pile of goo to become butterflies. So if you're a mess wrapped up in blankets right now, keep going.
I love that. You know, the very first part of that process in the chrysalis is they lose their heads first.
Yeah. Oh,
Very first.
how ironic, right?
Yeah, and that's why the rest of it can happen because they don't think they're in. They don't. They just their heads are the first to go.
So, how conceptually parallel to what we were just talking about? When we use the words losing our head, it implies that we've lost our mind, basically,
Yeah.
right? And if you think about the twirling dervishes, you think they have to lose their mind so that they can do what they're doing, right? Because they're spinning, right? And they're spinning in groups oftentimes, right? And so you would think they have to lose your mind to do that. And yet at the same time, actually what they're turning to is mind, uppercase M. Right?
Yeah,
So you're
conscious.
turning to that within so that that's where the balance and the power and the energy comes from.
Yeah, it's a out of s- you're out of mind state. You're in a different vibratory consciousness
Right.
that is all encompassing and not just so you might use it to learn the steps and learn like singers who just channel, musicians who just we practice and practice.
Preachers who just preach. Yeah.
Yeah, like we just kind of, as we were saying, we make sure our organism is intact. I take care of myself. I warm up my voice so that when the thing wants to sing itself through me, I'm ready. I'm not going to blow myself out.
Yeah.
There are energization techniques that we could work on, just pulling more light into the body so that when you really get that charge, you don't blow yourself out.
Well, that comes back to trust. I think it all comes back to trust. And when I say that, the piece of that is speaking to through me right now in regards to the importance for us to remember is when I say trust, it's not just trusting an invisible power. It's understanding that invisible power's innate nature is good, uppercase G, and that we live in a universe governed by spiritual law. So that which I choose to be, whether it's conscious or unconscious, and that which I know myself to be, whether it's conscious or unconscious, it responds to that, right? It responds to that in law and then provides experiences relative to that, whether that's moment by moment experience or a big macro experience. That's its nature, and it does that whether I want it to or not, right? That's its nature.
Yeah.
And yet, when we want to participate in it at a higher vibration than we did before, then it's going to appear in this magical way that it's providing more good for us than it did before. But it's not because it's doing that selectively. It's doing that because that's its nature. So then participating in that more and more and more at those higher vibrations helps strengthen, as Marianne Williamson calls it, our faith musculature, right? And so the muscles are then stronger, therefore the effects are different.
Sure. I mean, we can hold it longer.
Yeah.
And it's not always comfortable though, is it? Like
No.
sometimes
Well, hence
it
the
calls us,
caterpillar.
you got to let go of, again, that release, that the blessing of the release of what you think you are so that you become what you truly are. There's a woman named Gita Bellin,
Uh-huh.
like a coaching clientele, but I found this quote in a long time ago in The Artist's Way, and it stuck with me all these years. And it was something like, there's, what is it? No risk in staying like in bondage. There's risk in freedom is what it is. There is risk in freedom, but the only risk in bondage is that of breaking free. And I think sometimes, like in my coaching practice too, you can see right when somebody's on the precipice of really wanting to be free and allowing themselves the freedom to trust themselves to do, like I've established myself, I trust myself that I'm not going to lose myself
Right.
in a situation. I can trust my own intuition. And now I'm free to experiment with the world. What will I do with that freedom? And it's terrifying to some people. They don't want to be free. They want to be told every tiny little thing. They don't know the value of that trust in
Right.
self and infinite. Or they think they trust the infinite, but they don't trust themselves.
But I think
That,
one of the
that's
things that needs repeating in our practice is that one of the great gifts that we've been given in this philosophy, faith, and way of life is that if you can't know something for yourself, you can align yourself with someone that can know it for you until you can know it for yourself.
sure.
You know, I remember one of the most mystical and magical moments I ever had was I was at the Los Angeles Church of Religious Science, and I was doing a pre-service spiritual mind treatment on this massive theater, this big stage. And it was probably the first time I had opened up and the light had moved through me and I could feel it and I could see it in this dark theater. And it was transformative, like just unbelievably energetically, physically transformative. And I got through it. And as I came off the stage, David Walker, who was my minister at the time, came to the back and we met each other in the darkness there, you know, behind the curtains. And you remember David, right? He was this
I know
big
who you mean.
figure with
Yeah.
big energy, even though it felt like he was 7 feet tall. He really wasn't, though. But he reached over and grabbed me by the shoulders and said to me, "Are you aware of just what happened on that stage?"
Mm.
Or something to that effect. And I was like, "Yes, I am." And he goes, "Do you know what it means?" And I said, "No, I don't." And he goes, "Take a deep breath." And I did. He goes, "Now do you know what it means?" And I said, "I think I do." And he said, "Well, I know what it means. And I'm going to hold on to that till you know for sure.
Nice.
And let
Beautiful.
go of me." A block of time passed. And one day I walked up to him and I said, "I think I know what it means." And he goes, "What does it mean?" And I said, "I think I have to say yes to ministry." And he goes, "That's exactly what it means."
Wow. 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 Big.
Right? And so
Sure.
I share that because for all of us, it's important for us to remember that that is exactly what you're talking about. It's that opening up to that light, opening up to that trust, opening up to that. And if you can't know it for yourself, be open to others knowing it for you and be willing to reach out to people that can support you in that until you can know it for yourself. That's not about an ego journey, it's about a transformational journey, right?
Yeah.
It's about the spiritual awakening. And then the person, that's why I love our vision statement of supporting individuals finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, which by the way came to me in that same kind of way, right? But it's the balance of both, right? It's being open to that journey because it's always a journey.
Yeah. The journey, your sadhana, your walk, the path is not the goal. Sometimes
Right.
it's part of the goal. But, if you do your spiritual practices in a rote manner, just to do them, but you're not really focused on, like, those practices aren't the goal. The goal is this
Yeah.
realization, self-realization,
Yeah.
this opening, and to bring it through. It's not even bringing it through. It just becomes the natural way of life, you
Well,
know?
it's about tuning into it, as you were saying earlier. When you say about bringing, it's not really bringing it through, it's about tuning into it because it's already there.
Yeah, and it can flip frequencies on us. Sometimes it needs for us to do something, and that's where the trust comes in. You'll find yourself, maybe I have, in a circumstance that, like, well, how did this happen? And then there's a big long circle of stuff that happens, and that all needed to happen. Like,
Yeah.
you might be the catalyst for change in ways we'd never thought of. It's a big long story for another time, but I,
Tell it. Tell your story.
oh my gosh. No, it's just like for the book. But
Okay.
something something happened. So I've been singing since I was 17 years old. So for 17 years in a row, I had a New Year's Eve performance. So now I'm in my 30s. And this particular year, we didn't get booked anywhere because none of us really wanted to. We're just like, I just want to. So I was an event planner too. So I started this, I helped plan an event. I can't believe I'm telling you all these stories today. It's just like, I like telling stories. But the long and short of it was,
It's
we
not
were just,
Monday. You don't have to communicate without words.
okay, yeah. It's only Sunday.
It's
That's
only
hilarious.
Sunday. It's
Thank
Monday
you for that.
somewhere, but we're not there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was used to do a particular thing. There was a guy who had a habit of going to dances and not letting women get on the dance floor. This was it. No, he would turn his back and you would try to go left and right, and he just wouldn't let you. And so I touched him on the shoulder and I said, "Excuse me, I want to get onto the dance floor." And he turned around and he threw a drink. And we're like, "What?" So I was offended by that. And I was like, "What is this even about?" Long story, very short. I decided I'm pressing charges against this guy
Good.
because who the heck does he think he is? And like,
Yeah.
I didn't even do anything to this guy. So long story.
Messing with me getting my groove on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my only night, this is a New Year's Eve, the only New Year's Eve off I have in 17
Wow.
years, and I'm not having it. But it all felt really horrible, like dark. And I was talking to all these different people about it, and some people were like, "I can't believe you're going to press charges. What about him?" I'm like, "What about him?" And I was finding my voice, like, because I don't want to make waves, and I don't want people to think like I was already doing spiritual things in communities, and like, what's this going to look like? I'm out dancing at a New Year's Eve party and somebody throws a drink at me. What is this? But there was something happened right before it, Keith. It was like slow motion. And I got a clear hit, like something's going to happen that you're not going to understand.
Hmm.
And that was what happened. Long story short, go to court, press charges. And a friend of mine was an attorney, got this file on this guy that was like this thick. He had done it
So it was
all
repetitive
around.
behavior. Yeah.
Yeah. And was recently just picked up in November because he spat on a police officer. So he was going to be in trouble for that. And so they put him in jail for like 3 months where he was rehabilitated. So he had an addiction problem and a drinking problem and all these different things. Fast forward now, like 5 years. We're working, it's like election day, and it's this beautiful, gorgeous day in November, and I'm still living in Pittsburgh at the time. And a friend and I are working at the polls. We're handing out cards for a friend who's running for office. And we are finished with our shift, and this brand new restaurant opened. And we said, let's just walk around the corner of this restaurant. Well, it's like noon. There's nobody in the whole place, no one. We sit over here, and there's one person at the bar. Um, And we're sitting over here eating. All of a sudden, this person comes walking over to the table. It's that guy. And I'm like, "Oh God." And he said, "Please, I have not stopped thinking about you since that happened. I am so sorry. And thank you for pressing charges against me because it changed my life. Now I have a relationship with my son." Um, and I've been thinking, I'm like looking at all the things you do in a community and all this stuff. And I'm like, how could I have done that? But he said, "But now I know why, because you helped me get myself on track." And I thought, so all that to say, you don't know why these weird things, I had no idea, but sometimes weird things happen so that you'll do the thing it happened to like a dozen other women and nobody did it.
Yeah. So like the last quote that we have that I just pulled out, it's not going to be any mistake that this quote is the quote, right?
Okay.
Because it speaks so to this. It's by Ernest Holmes. It says, "We may pass through good fortune and bad, but if we can come to the point where we're not disturbed by things, we've found the secret."
That's a great quote you pulled. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, what that means for us, thank you for sharing that story. And thank you
I
for
hope it was
sharing.
relevant. Like it's
It
kind
was
of,
relevant. I think what it teaches, what it provides for us is to know that, yes, to trust the guide that is within us, whether to press charges or what to do. Like trust that inner voice. It's the same thing when David grabbed me on the shoulders, not grabbed me, but puts his hand on my shoulders and like, do you know what that means? What all of it is telling us is that we all have, I love to refer to it as Ernie did, our inner celestial voice, right? It's like, listen to that voice. It will forever guide you. Right? And if you find yourself a gooey mess on the floor wrapped in blankets right now, listen to the voice, right? The voice is there. And if you can't find in your own life at the moment, not you per se, but anyone listening, to find the manner and the means by which to tune into that voice yourself, reach out to someone who can do that for you until you can do it for yourself, because the voice is always there and the law of life always exists, right? Often many individuals are questioning, how can one find good in what's happening in the world today? And the good that we speak of is both human at the human level and the divine level. It exists in both places. And if you can't find it in that which you're seeing, not meaning that what you're seeing is not really what it is, because it is, but we still have the ability to stop and choose to see good somewhere, and then it will become manifest. Right? So we can see the bad stuff and know good at the same time. And that's not spiritual bypass unless you use it as spiritual bypass.
Yeah, you
Right?
can, that's certainly available if you
Yeah.
would like to. But yeah, I think more of it too, to your point, like the more we focus on the things that bring us joy, the more that vibration
Right.
gets introduced into the scenario that is what we call human life and drama. And it's important to remember that we must find the joy in life.
Well, we must choose to find the joy.
Yeah.
We have to
Choose to
choose it.
find it and then let it have its way with us. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
participate with it, you know.
Well, joy has had its way with me this morning
Oh,
by
thank
spending
you.
time with
Me
you.
too.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We booked this months ago, and I'm so glad
I
we
know.
did.
It came up so quickly. I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing more of you.
Same here. I just love and adore and revere and respect you, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the work you're doing. I'm so proud that you're a light in Columbus, Ohio, and that you are shifting your ministry or letting it shift you, and that you're just making a difference out there. You've always made a difference, but you're certainly doing it in unique ways right now. So thank you.
Thank you so
And
much.
let's bring that circle of love gathering back, baby.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm going to get with David. We'll make sure we can get something happening because
Yeah.
it'll be nice to participate with you again.
Yeah, very
Thank you
much
for
so.
what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right.
All right, well, Yaron's going to come back and sing a song. Everyone, be patient with us. I know we've gone a little long today. I think it was all very worthwhile. And he's going to take us through a song. Yaron, are you there? Yaron, how are you doing on time? Do you have somewhere you need to be?
No, I'm here. I'm present.
All right, well, sing a song for us.
I wanted to ask if you can remind me, because I remember the song has to do with this month's and this week's topic.
The topic is Freedom is My Divine Right.
Exactly. That's right. And I picked Free as a Bird by the Beatles.
Yay.
Free as a bird. It's the next best thing to be. Free as a bird. Ooh. Home and dry, like a homing bird I fly, as the bird on wings. Whatever happened to the life that we once knew? Can we really live without each other? Where did we lose the touch that seemed to mean so much? It always made me feel free as a bird. It's the next best thing to be. Free as a bird. Ooh. Home and dry, like a homing bird I fly, free as a bird. What happened ever to the life that we once knew? Can we really live without each other? Where did we lose the touch that seems to mean so much? It always made me feel bird.
Oh, that's a fantastic song and a fantastic version of it.
Thank
It
you.
it's I was thinking as you were singing it, a bird flying over the Bay of Provincetown there, right? And just we all can have a vision of that, and kept thinking of Maya Angelou saying the caged bird sings, right? But then it becomes free.
There's several songs that like really like the free, it's like that long note really makes you feel the freedom of that bird. Like there's several
Yeah,
like songs that
yeah.
really connect really well with the word. That's one of them. I love singing that song.
It's interesting. There are two things that have come up in the last 15 minutes that has been a repeat in my life of lately, which I know is a sign to tune in. One is when Lisa spoke of the artist way. This is the third time that's come up this week, so I need to pay attention to that because it's a spiritual practice. I don't know if you're familiar with it, called the artist way. It's about writing and journaling and stuff. And then the other is birds. Birds. People keep talking about birds and hummingbirds and yep. Well, Yaron, thank you for today. I'm so glad you were here, and I'm glad we got it right in your schedule of your calendar of rehearsal time.
Of course, you guys are always
And you're going to be here next week as well, right? We've got you 2 weeks
yeah.
in a row. So exciting. Wonderful. Well, thank you.
I
Thank you.
might
We'll have you
even
come back
get
in
Ben
just a
to join.
moment. Or if you want, you can stay on to do Let There Be Peace on Earth. Just stay
Of
on. You can
course.
keep your. I want to remind you all that you can support our community through our website, csl-la.org. Please avail yourself of that, or our app in the App Store, Center for Spiritual Living, as well as we have a midweek morning meditation this upcoming Wednesday morning, as it is every Wednesday morning at 8:30. If you can't avail yourself of that through Zoom, know that following that it's published live on Facebook, or not live, but on Facebook and through an email. And also we have our new thought text for the day that go out each morning at 7:30. And just to remind you that as a community, we're here to support you just as you are, as you find your personal self-empowerment and inviting your spiritual awakenings. You are in the right place at the right time, expressing the rightness that is you. Let's all remember that. We're going to close out by singing together the song Let There Be Peace on Earth. Yaron's going to take us out on that. And feel free to sing along and know that your words have power. And tune in to every time that word's been sung. It's a vibratory frequency that's making a difference on this planet. Following that, we'll say goodbye to those of you that are on YouTube. And those of you that are on Zoom, we can stay in for just a moment and say hello to each other. Yaron, take it away.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With each step I take, let this be my soul and vow to take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth.